Hey everyone, thanks for having me here today on Product School webinar series. I'm Boris, Platform Product Manager at Miro, and today I will tell you the story of something we call product mentorship. It's the story of how our team grew from feature factory mindset to building business value mindset through a set of tools, and we call these tools product mentorship. As a fresh product manager, you might have a lot of things coming at you. You need a lot of expertise and skills to actually amplify your product approach to become a great product manager. And part of the tools that can help you is having a mentor, product mentor for you and your team. So this webinar will be extremely helpful for those who are just starting as a product manager, but also to those who lead in a product managers group to understand how you can help these people to grow and to amplify this approach. At the end of this webinar, you will understand certain things, certain takeaways, like who are these candidates to mentor a product team, how to build these facilitation workshops, how amplify artificial sense of urgency, and why you should decouple problem and solution in mentorship and in everyday work with your team. To give you an idea of what kind of change our team has gone through, take a look at this slide. 2 years ago, when Miro developer platform team just started, we were focusing on mostly technical backlog items like APIs, SDKs, webhooks, and these kind of things. We were just focusing on delivering those items, and we didn't really think about who are going to use it, how exactly, how we can grow the traction, and so on and so forth. After we've gone through some changes now, 2 years later, and for sure much earlier, our backlog is still filled with different APIs and technical things, but this backlog is driven by understanding the business value, the goals, the metrics that we drive for the company. We understand strategic personas, we set goals for each of the segments, and we have hundreds of apps and partners building integrations themselves. So this change from just building something technical to enabling business is a change I'm going to walk you through step by step. A couple of words about me. Last 9 years, I've been working in IT in different kinds of companies, and my road to product management actually has been quite long. I've been doing marketing, knowledge management, sales analytics, learning and development, and even cybersecurity integrations. And now, years later, 2 years ago, I joined Miro as a developer platform product manager, working on APIs and workflows for external developers like enterprise customers and vendors. When I joined product management, I had no experience. I was working on a completely new product area for myself and for the company. We had no strategy, but we were expected to be already delivering. This is just a context so that you can understand and emphasize the way I felt when I joined this journey. And a couple of things that were in my mind that also were a great trouble for myself. And I want you to search for this kind of way of thinking in your team. First, I, as a product manager, thought that I have to cope with all of that myself. I have to know it all, I have to do it all by myself, and I'm the expert. And the second thing, I was actually trying to help my team make technical decisions, which I also was not quite sure about. And this didn't help them accountable enough. So this is the starting point. And if you see certain similar situations with yourself or inside your team, that means that this webinar will show you a story of how you can journey from this state to state where you actually own the situation, but delivering the business value. A couple of words about the company where all of this happens, because it's important to understand what kind of business it is, what kind of culture it is, what kind of product culture it is. So a couple of words about Miro. Miro is a SaaS product. It's online collaborative whiteboard platform growing X3 year on year. We have 5 million users and 400 people team across 5 hubs. And you can just see these beautiful logos of the companies that use us to build next big things. Our product culture is something that really helped me to make this journey. It was the basis of what helped me find my product management skills. Right now, we're quite big. It's 4 product areas and 3 to 5 teams in each area. And that means that there is a lot of cross-team collaboration. We have to synchronize and work together cross-team a lot. And there are things that help us. Our values, when we challenge each other directly, but we really care about the overall goal. OKRs that help us cascade the goals, and W model, which strikes a balance between executive vision and teams initiatives. That is just so that you understand that I was not in some kind of vacuum, and the culture that you're trying to find your approach is also very, very important. But let's get more to the details of my story. Imagine 2 years ago, a team started implementing a developer platform. A team of product manager, team lead, tech lead, number of engineers, product marketer. 2 months into development, we understand that things are not really going the way they should. And I'm going to walk you through 5 real stories, 5 specific cases, each of which is focused on specific product artifact or component like roadmap, personas, customer segments, team alignment, and such. As a result, you'll get a kind of a health checklist on how you can understand where do you lay compared to us and compared to a good product team in general. And then we'll talk about what we did and what can you do to better the situation. So let's go. The first case was about roadmap. It started when CEO of the company created a Slack conversation with platform team and head of product, head of engineering, some other people saying, hey people, let's get together and discuss how platform development is going on. And when we gathered, the first question he asked was, so what's your roadmap? And we showed our roadmap, which was filled with a lot of delivery items. And we got some feedback, which was, hey people, I see you working on something, but I don't understand what exact value is this thing bringing to us. I don't understand. And we realized that, surprise, we didn't understand either. We saw requests, we saw that other platforms did it, we saw what kind of use cases or features are needed, but we couldn't connect how these specific roadmap items are delivering value to users and to the company. And that was the first really, really dangerous bell that rang upon our heads. The second story, which happened in the same conversation, was question about personas. Who are your personas? Asked us our CEO. And I answered very confidently that, hey, our personas are IT administrators who want to do some automation. And there are developers who want to build apps, and there are managers of the developers who want to understand what kind of possibilities our platform offers. And this was a right answer, but on a different level, because as we learned later from other platforms and from our CEO at the moment, that we shouldn't think about people who click on buttons. It is good when you're trying to optimize a specific part of a landing page, but when you're building a whole product, you need to understand much higher level of personas. For example, we should have been thinking, and we're thinking now, about a whole enterprise segment as a persona. We're thinking about vendors willing to build in integrations as a whole persona or independent developer, same. And this understanding of personas helps you to understand the value that you should be building with your product on a completely different level. This was the second situation that we got, the question about personas. The third one happened sometime later. There was a question, why don't we feature a certain thing, a certain feature on the landing page? Because we have all of that, but we don't have a specific, very important thing. And I also answered very, very confidently that that feature is not built yet. Why would we put on a landing page a feature that we had not built yet? And that is another thing that we learned about our mindset and about how we approach certain things, that you shouldn't promote something you have already built. You should try to promote something you're planning to build, get new beta testers, understand the demand from the market, understand how you're going to ship it. So think not about just building stuff, but think about delivering, about shipping, about who you're marketing it for. Because after we try to understand who are we building this feature for and how can we put it on the landing page, a lot of things had actually changed in the product itself. So even this small thing completely changed our approach towards the feature. 4 out of 5 stories is about the segment. We were at that point targeting a lot of different segments, and CEO asked us, why are we targeting enterprise? Why are we doing anything with enterprise? And I had to answer that, hey, we see a lot of feature requests, and we discussed that enterprise is part of the platform, so why not? And the follow-up discussion was about us not really understanding how we grow enterprise business in the first place. So yes, we can build a feature or two that even will be used and might be valuable for this segment. But if this doesn't contribute to our strategy in this segment, this will be a waste of time, because actual strategic development would make this feature obsolete. So we stopped investing into the segment and contributed resources to completely different things where we understood clearly what value are we creating. So this is a story about not just understanding what features are your users requesting, but understanding how this feature delivery will help you grow within the segment. The final story, my favorite one, is about alignment or lack of alignment. Imagine a CEO asking this question, is a certain integration possible on our platform? And then there are 3 people who should be thinking as one, like really a team: product manager, team lead, and technical lead. And they answer 3 completely different things. Due to many reasons, due to us not understanding specifically the requirements. So we had different opinions about requirements. We had different opinions about what our platform allows people to do. So we showed ourselves completely misaligned. And this is very different from just having opinions, because if you have different opinions in your team, but you share them, that means that there is a chance to come to an alignment. But if you don't share your opinions, the misalignment will strike you at the most dangerous moment, like it was with us. So we tried to analyze this whole story and to see where did things go wrong and how can we improve them. We started with this, with understanding what language do we speak in the team, and we realized that we speak mostly technical language. And this fact that we speak mostly technical language means that we could not align what we were doing to the high-level company goals, because company goals are in business language. You cannot directly connect it. It's not easy. So since we didn't have any big company level goal, we set to ourselves a lot of different goals. And so we were in complete disfocus, were unfocused. In this unfocus, you cannot really show good traction because you're trying to do a lot of things at the same time. It means you becoming slower and slower and slower. And while you're not performing and you have a lot of things in your mind, it's really hard to align on what decisions you're making. So to break out of this circle, we thought about several things. You can try to break it from any point, but for us, the most important was to stop speaking technical language within the team, even within the engineers. We're trying to tie everything to business metrics, to product goals, to company goals. And that helps to understand the company level goals. And then focus comes and traction gets better and alignment and decision making also improves. So as promised, a quick health check, which you can do with your team to understand where do you lay and where you should improve. About roadmap being best based on value or just feature delivery. About personas being about decisions they make or just actions they perform. About your key focus being on how do you ship or just how you build your things. About understanding what affects growth in each segment you're targeting. And finally, about alignment within your team. Now, as we've gone through the stories which built our understanding that things are not okay, let's get into what we actually did and how we changed, how things we did helped us to actually develop this product mindset. Again, to remind you what we'll be talking about in this part. We'll be talking about great candidates for product mentorship and what product mentorship is, first of all, on what kind of regular facilitated meetings we did and how you can approach that, and a couple of bonus things about artificial sense of urgency and decoupling problem and solution within your team. So let's start with the very first thing. What we did is we sat regular meetings with internal experts, being our CEO, our head of product, and our head of engineering. Luckily, at that time, they had capacity to spend with us at least 1 hour every 2 weeks first, and then 1 hour every month later. So we used these sessions for 2 reasons. One is to get some decision-making discussions. So we were actually discussing specific business things we needed to do or engineering things. And also getting some coaching on the way we approach things. And that helped us greatly to master decision-making, master in-team communication, and communication with stakeholders. At some point, these internal experts became more of advisors and trackers, but they couldn't bring too much more new value. And so at that point, we understood that we need someone else. And our mentors started to activate their network and their connections and get us introduced to people they knew from cool companies that were building platforms. For us, it was important to talk to other companies who build successful platforms like Dropbox, like Atlassian, like Slack or Trello or Zapier. And we were able, through our mentors, to get access to those people and have at least a couple of sessions with them to understand how they drive engineering, how they drive platform development, how they solve certain issues that we already come up with. But in our head, we already had this seed of new kind of mindset approaching the product. So first, we started with internal experts, and as this thing faded out, we moved to external experts, which became also our mentors for some time. The main things which you should think about when you're choosing a product mentor is this potential mentor ability to challenge the whole team on a deep level. So this is important. It's not high-level advisory, but this person should understand how your business works and understand when you don't understand it and help you get into it. Understand somehow the sphere you're working in, and being ready to dive into real details, at least at the beginning. The second important thing, which I also mentioned, that this person can bring new mentors, that you can gain more and more expertise, more and more advice from other people as soon as this mentorship work stops to work. This is about who you can work with or how to choose the best candidate to mentor your product team. The second part is about how do you actually organize those meetings. There is a modern task-driven development, then there is a joke about meeting-driven development. So this is a meeting-driven development of a strategy, meeting-driven strategy development. We broke it into two parts. We worked with mentors, as I mentioned earlier, and we also had a regular in-team meetings dedicated to discussion of our vision, of our strategy, and reflection over what we have discussed with mentors. So while with mentors we were encouraging direct and comfortable questions, we did regular goal traction so that it was not just discussion, but we also took decisions and we showed how things change. And we also had to be quite honest with ourselves while working with these mentors. And internally, there were also some things that didn't come easy, but were very, very important. First of all, you as a product manager should learn to talk business to the engineers. And it doesn't matter if it's a team lead or hardcore backend engineer. You should be able to talk business to them, and you should expect them to talk back to you. First, it's hard and it's weird, but with some time, you really get into it. And they understand how to help you to drive business, and they won't let you to feed them with irrelevant tasks because they start to understand how business works. This is really empowering thing for the whole team. Secondly, don't be afraid to brainstorm ideas on how to drive strategy and how to research certain things. You can brainstorm marketing solutions with engineers or brainstorm some technical design solutions with marketing people. It's okay. The more different ideas you get, the more you build as a team. And finally, especially while you focus on strategy work, try to decouple the problems that you're discussing and their value from actual solutions that you're going to implement, because solution discussion gets you into lower level where you might not be ready to discuss everything, and it will be apparently just a waste of time, possibly. Couple of more things that we tried, which are not directly connected to mentorship, but also very important and were very influential for us. We created artificial sense of urgency in non-engineering tasks. For example, you meet with your team and you say, hey, we need to research our personas, set several interviews and talk to different of them. Let's say we can do it in a week and a half. And this moment you stop and say, hey, why don't we do it right now, today? And then tomorrow we'll already have interviews, and by the end of the week, we'll already have all the results. And this, first of all, it helps you to save a lot of time, because there are tasks which, if you give it a month, you will spend a month on it. But secondly, it gives the whole team energy because everyone sees that these things are moving. It's not something very vague and fluff. It's something very, very specific, and it happens, and that energizes the team greatly. Final thing is about decoupling problem and solution discussions, both on the mentorship level and on the everyday level. For example, I was, as a PM, kicked out from a certain point out of technical discussions. If the team understood that discussion gets technical and was starting to dive into solutions, team lead was just showing me on the door, like, not needed here anymore. We will handle this. and you do your job. Talk to users, build a strategy, calculate the market, whatever you do. And this saved me 30% of my time. And this is great. But also it held me and the engineers accountable for relevant things. They were accountable for the solution. And when they came to me with this solution, they had to answer a lot of questions I would ask. And vice versa. I was accountable for ensuring that we're building the right thing, and I had my time to do it. So this is also not really mentorship related, but very important thing. To cover quickly some thoughts on product mentorship as a final comment. So you find some people, first of all, inside your company, then outside your company, who can do regular meetings with your team and track progress into certain points, either engineering delivery or strategy development or marketing strategy development of a certain product. Partially, they can teach you how to work, and partially, they can help you make good decisions. These mentors should be someone who can really challenge you in your business vision, but also with a good network of contacts. At some point, when you feel comfortable, you can get in external people. It's good to have this thing regular, and it's good to have really traction for this strategy development. You create artificial sense of urgency so that you do not procrastinate on soft skills tasks, but also energize your team. And you're trying to keep team accountable for the solutions and keep yourself accountable for the problem. As they say, product manager should fall in love with the problem and not the solution. And this thing really, really helps greatly to it. As a final comment to it, even if you forget everything that I was covering in this webinar, you forget the stories, you forget the key takeaways, remember one thing: however hard the situation was for you, however powerless you felt, you can always reach out. You can reach out to your boss, to your team. You can reach out to other teams and just ask them to talk with you about what kind of decisions you can make, who can help you make these decisions better. This honesty and this openness really helps not to carry all the burden on yourself. And you can also reach out to me, for example, on LinkedIn or any other social network to discuss product mentorship, to discuss your experience, how you grew from feature factory to a really business-oriented, but still technically delivering unit. I'll be really interested in your questions and your ideas and experience. Thank you.